account as such.
This meeting is being recorded.
Even though you have an account as such, you should not, even though you have access to the root user or root account, right? You should not use your root user on a daily basis or any of the operations as such. Why? Purely because, let's say, if at all your system, if at all for some reason your system is compromised, and for your daily operations you use root user, right? Now, it's good that the attacker will be able to, gather these credentials, right? What if your root user is compromised? You're done. Correct. That is the reason. Even though you have the root user access, you should not use it. It should be kept aside. Okay. Now, if it is kept aside, what is the next thing that you must do? You will have to ideally create a IAM user and assign administrative permissions, and then use that particular IAM user. All right. So that is the way you need to look at it. Okay. So also, let me go and share my screen. Right. So now what we're looking at is IAM. All right. So we were speaking about the best practices, right? So best practices. What are the best practices? I think you told something. What did you tell? What were the items you mentioned?
Yeah, root user operator should not use on daily basis.
Okay, root user should not be used on daily basis. Okay, what's next?
And IAM user should log in with MFA.
Should log in with MFA. Next.
Only particular services need to enable given to this IAM user. Service or role like.
IAM users must be given permission for those services which are required only. Okay. Next.
If you want to give root permission, then we need to give full permissions to IAM user.
No, nothing. You will not be able to create an IAM user with exact root access. You will be able to create an IAM user with administrator access.
Okay.
Okay, that's the way you need to look at it. Right. So these are the few pointers that you always need to keep in mind with respect to best, with respect to best practices as such. Okay. There could be more. Gradually, you will see more of them. But yeah, for now, these are the ones that you need to keep in mind.
Okay.
Right. So also now you will be able to use, or let me put it this way, you will be able to create IAM user, right, to represent applications, right? So when I say you will be able to create IAM user to represent applications, what are those particular applications called as? IAM users can be created to represent applications. Now, these particular, what do you call, accounts that you have, or the IAM user that you are created will be called as service accounts, right?
Yes.
So to explain this more better, right?
Okay.
This is your database. Okay.
Okay.
Now, let's say you need an application now. Take this as an application, right? This is your application. Now, if you want to do certain changes, right? If you want to do certain changes on this particular application, what will you usually use? You will use your IAM user, correct?
Yes.
Created for person A, right? So using this, what you will do, you will access the application and make changes, correct?
Correct.
This is the flow as far as this particular, that's created for person A. Now, what will this particular application do? Let's say it's a typical payment application, right? Now, this is who this guy is, administrator, correct?
Okay.
Administrator. Now, let's say there is another guy who is not the administrator, but he is more of user. Okay.
Okay.
Now, if this particular user will send a query to the application, right?
Okay.
Let's say sign up. He sends sign up query to the application, right? The sign up will be processed, but after the sign up, what will happen? This particular application will have to store this user's details, correct? Like your first name, last name, email address, so on and so forth. Where will it store?
It will store in database.
Right? Here is the database. Yes. Now, this is a different resource, right? Okay. In case of AWS, where will you host the application? It could be on your EC2 or it could be on your ECS, EKS, and so on and so forth, right? Similarly, in case of AWS, which are the databases that you've got? You've got your S3, you've got your RDS, you've got Aurora, so on and so forth, right? So these are different services, correct? Now, yes. EC2 service will have to speak to database service, right? Now, what will you do? Then is when, right? So this particular application, post this particular sign-up process by the user, it will have to store something on the database. For it to store something on the database, it will have to connect to the database, correct?
Yes.
How will it connect to the database?
Via API.
Even though it connects via API, you will have to do some authentication, correct?
Yes.
What kind of authentication will you use? What you can do is you have two choices here. One is whenever you're calling the API, right, on the password parameter, you can definitely on the database, you can create your username and password, give that particular username and password on the API authentication parameter, correct? That's one, right? You have another way, which is your service account. All right. So using this particular service account, your API or your application will be able to communicate to a database. Are we clear?
Okay.
Make sense or no?
Sir, this, we given access IAM, right, to this administrator. He only can log into the database, right? And that unknown person cannot go to application, right?
No, boss. See, unknown person will not be going to the application, the database. Your application will have to speak to database to retrieve some information about the user, correct?
Correct.
Otherwise, how will application get to know? Let's say initial sign-up process. After the sign-up process, whatever the data is stored. Now, this particular user is trying to sign in, right?
Okay.
Now, what is the first thing that you will do whenever a user is trying to sign in? We will try and identify whether there is an account present or not for that particular user, correct?
Correct.
How will you identify that? By mapping against the number of users that are signed up, correct? Where will this
Correct.
number of users that are signed up be present? On your tables and rows sitting on the database, correct?
Correct.
Now, for the next request, sign in, for that matter, application will receive a sign in request from the user. What application will do? It will go back to database and check whether this particular mobile number is signed up or not, right? Now, for this particular flow, application will have to authenticate itself to the database, correct?
Correct.
Now, how will you achieve that? You need a username and password. You can't just create a username and password on your database and embed it on your API call on the environmental variables. No, you can't do that. Why? Because it's not good from security perspective. You've got 2 to 3 ways here. Using Amazon, what you can do is you can use your service account.
Okay.
Are we good? Or are
Yes.
there some unconnected dots?
No, it is good.
All right. So this kind of account, what you create is called as a service account. I hope I'm clear. Right? So I just want to add one data here. Maximum number of users that can be created is 5K. Okay, in 9 account. Now, let's say you have got this is administrator, I told you, right?
Yes.
I will bring in another guy. Consider this guy as coder. Okay. I was not getting appropriate word for coding, so I picked up a calculator. That's okay, right? Coder or
Okay.
developer, right? So now he will have to develop, right? So if he will have to
Yes.
develop, there will be certain things that he will have to do on a daily basis, right? For which he will have to connect to your application, correct?
Correct.
Now, will you create an IAM user for him?
Yes, we'll create IAM role for developer. Yesterday we saw SDK for coder. That option is there, no?
There, you can actually be smart there. Rather than creating a dedicated IAM user where you will be giving access to console and so on and so forth, what you can do is you can create, right, access key ID and secret access key. Okay.
Okay.
Now, this particular access key ID and secret access key, right? This particular developer, he will not be able to sign in using console. He'll be able to only sign in using CLI.
Correct.
Okay.
Yes.
Do you know what is CLI?
Yeah, command line interface.
Right. So using CLI, he will be able to sign in. Otherwise, on your browser, he will not be able to sign into the application. Got it?
Got it.
Now, let's say there are multiple people, right, who are the administrators. Administrator, as in, I understand we should not have more than one administrator. We will say there is a team of administrators, right, who will have to manage multiple things, correct?
Correct.
Hello?
Yeah, correct.
Right. So now
we will have like
tell me.
Yeah, in a Unix team we will have more than 10 members like that. You are creating
Correct.
like more.
Right.
Yeah.
Now you have so many people here. 1, 2, 3.
Okay.
Let's give one more. Right. So here, let's say you created IAM user first for one guy. Let's also name these guys, right? Sorry. This guy is admin 1. This guy is admin 2. This guy is admin 3. This guy is admin 4, right? So in the organization, let's say you are top management, and when one administrator you hired, you created him one account, right? Going forward, you will hire more administrators, right? Would you
Yes.
want to create more accounts?
No, but I can duplicate. We can do another. One option is there.
Correct.
Give
You
the
will have to duplicate. Now, what if I will tell you, rather than duplicating that, right? Create one group, right? Which is the whole people together, right? What you can do is create a group called administrators group, and administrators group, and for the administrator group, give the appropriate policies. Now, whenever you create a new user, like your admin 2, admin 3, admin 4, add them to the administrators group. Got it?
Got it. Correct. A similar concept is that in Linux groups,
right?
like a head
That's
group
right.
means inherits the set GID.
Right. In a similar way, here, what you can do is you can create, one group called as administrator group, and give the appropriate policies to that group. And whenever you will hire new people, add them to that particular group per se. All right.
Correct.
Now, similarly, you will have
More
people or more developers joining in the team, right?
Okay. Yeah.
What will you do then? What will you do then? You can definitely create another group for all the developers. Okay. And as in when a new guy will join in, what you can do is you can add that particular user to the same developer group. Am I making sense?
Yeah.
Now we saw one user, we saw groups, correct?
Yes.
IAM use what all different parameters, sorry, for terminologies we have. We have users, we have seen them, we have groups, we have also seen them, right?
Yes.
Now what do we have is roles, right? What is a role?
Role is nothing but giving permission to one user to the service.
Correct. Now, what kind of role? Now, let's say this particular developer 1, 2, 3, 4. Or let's go here. Let's go back to developers. I'm sorry. So you've got developer 1, developer 2, developer 3, developer 4. You're creating this access key ID and secure access key, right? Now, what kind of access do you give them, right? Let's say accessing S2 only, sorry, S3 only, right?
Yes.
Or accessing EC2 only, or accessing WAF only, right?
Yes.
These particular, set of permissions are called as roles. Okay.
Okay. Okay.
Now, let me quickly write it down here. Set of permissions for making AWS service request, or let's say AWS service requests is called as roles. All right. So
Yes.
do you now have a clarity between the differences between users, groups, and roles?
Yes, sir. Correct.
Okay.
Clear.
Let me ask you one quick question. Is there a username or password for a role?
No.
All right, you've got it right. There is no credentials
Yes.
with respect to role. So also, you can even assign temporary roles. That's okay. That is something that we will definitely go through it later. That's not required at the moment. And let me ask you this example. Can you map a role to a AWS service?
Yes.
Okay, that's good. You've got the clarity.
Like it's like a service to service. Suppose EC2 instance want to connect with S3 bucket, means at that time we need to create a role. Is correct?
That's right. Yeah. Your understanding is right. Now we saw roles, users, groups. What is that something that we have left?
Policy.
All right. So let's consider this for instance. You would want to have certain set of rules to be applied to certain set of users and groups accordingly, right? You will have to document this, correct?
Yes.
Where will you document or how will you document? Is with the help of policies.
Can you come back with the help of?
With the help of policies. So to put it more simpler, right? Policies are the documents that will define permissions, right? And can be applied to your users, groups, and roles.
Okay.
What I'll do is for ease.
Can you take one point here, sir, somewhere? That point, that policy point.
Right here, I'll do.
Thank you.
Right. So how it is
policies are documents where what you are giving to the users and roles.
Documents that define permissions and can be applied to users, groups, and roles. Okay. So this is what you call as policy. All right. So is it? Do you have clarity now? Is it making sense now?
Yes.
Now, one another thing that you need to keep in mind is everything that you do on AWS, all permissions that you give, right, are by default, right? Implicit deny. Are by default implicit deny. By saying this, what I'm trying to mean is, let's say you create a rule for exception. Or let's say you create a rule for EC2 access, right?
Right.
It means you have got access to EC2. That's it.
Yes.
Right. So if you're trying to access some other service, That's going to be a deny, straightforward. Let's say you have not given any access, which means you will not be able to access anything, right? So
Yes.
more from a algorithm or a logic flow perspective, what first AWS will check for is, or what first AWS will do is, it will deny the request first. It will go with the making decision of deny the request, and then check whether is there an exception or not. That's what it's trying to do, right? All permissions are by default implicit deny. By doing so, it is trying to achieve security. That's it. Yeah.
Yeah.
Is it making sense now?
Yes.
Got it. So now we covered users, we covered groups, we covered policies, we also covered roles. We have one another thing which is called as security token service. Just give me a second before I start that.
Okay.
Sorry about that. So what we next have is security token service.
So
I am not sure if I have place here. I'll try to fit in there. Right. So what is security token services? It is again specific to I'll put it as STS in short. Right. Service. Sorry, it is security token service. Sorry. Security token service, right? So what security token service helps us is, it helps or let me put it this way, it enables you to request temporary and limited privilege. for IAM users, right? So it's not just for IAM users. You can use it, external as well, right? So let's say there is a auditor who has visited, right? Like how I gave yesterday. I don't remember one example that I gave you. Let's say there is an auditor and he wants to audit your infrastructure, and he needs a read-only access to your infrastructure. Will you go ahead and create an IAM user for him? If yes, what kind of role will you map, or what are the policies that you will give him, or what kind of access will you give him?
We cannot give anything to him.
Correct.
As an auditor, yeah, we should not give.
What you can then do is, if at all, if there is a all NDA signed and so on and so forth, and your management is agreeing, you can definitely create a temporary username and credentials for him and map it to an IAM user, create it for him and give that access, where he will have very limited access for a certain period of time, and then the access is taken off. Auditor is not an internal employee, he is an external employee, correct? And is the reason you can achieve this. Now it's not just specific to this, right? Anything and everything on AWS, if you want to do, right, you just need a temporary access. Then you can use your STS role, STS assume role for the respective operations, right? So let's say you want to do something for now, right, for the next 15-20 minutes with respect to an EC2 access in S3 bucket or something like that. Then what you can do is, rather than mapping the entire policy, you can give an STS access for the next 15 minutes or so, then later be done with it. So once that is done, once whatever the duration that you have set is gone, that particular user or that particular resource will lose access to the set service also. Okay, that's how your STS will work. Also, there are few pointers that you'll have to consider with respect to STS, right? It's more of let's say, or I'll put it as, when I say pointers, let me put it as advantages, right? So what you can do is, in case of IAM, right, it's a long-term user. Advantage of STS, using STS is you did not create a long-term user as such. You can go with short-term, and once the same is done, the access is taken off per se, right? So in a similar way, there are few more advantages, like your temporary security credentials, right? And the credentials have a lifetime as such. After that particular lifetime, they will be expired, right? Things like this.
Okay, Ananta. Like 10 days or 20 days, can we give range in this one security service? Hello.
Yes, you can. Yes, you can.
Okay. Okay.
You can also map it to few hours. You can also map it to several hours as well. All right. So do you have clarity on what is STS? Hello?
Yes, Ananta. Yeah, it is clear.
Got it. So you were saying something. You want to say something?
Nothing.
Okay. So I think also there are a few items here which is mostly from federated accesses, but you will not be dealing with federated accesses, so I will not be covering them. When I say federated access, it's more of accesses that you will have to look into if you're working for a government organization. Government organization, as in, let me put it this way. Even there are few government organizations who use AWS. For them, what AWS has done is they have given them separate dedicated data centers. It's not the usual data centers that we use.
Yes,
Okay.
yes, Ananta. Like US Army, they have separate
Correct.
AWS cloud.
Correct. So in those cases, you have this federation, settings that you can, utilize. So that is the reason I'm not covering those. Please don't mind. Next,
Okay.
what you have is, I think, with respect to IAM, these are the few pointers, or these are the few understandings that you must have. What is a user? What is a group? What is a role? What is a policy? What is a security token service? And these are the five, what do you call, main pointers that you need to recall. Okay. I hope you have got clarity on each of these.
Yes, Anand.
Okay. Now that we have got these, right? Can you help me list out what are the best practices for the entire IAM? IAM as a service that we saw, right? What are the
Yes,
best practices according to you that one must follow whenever he or she is using IAM? Can you help me list down?
Yes. Every user should have an IAM user. Like he should be under a group. Suppose if more than 1 or 2 users are there, then they should be under the group.
So it will be use groups, right, to assign permission to IAM users. Did I make it right? I mean, did I type it right?
Yes. Yes.
Okay. What is the next one?
Like we said, like MFA, all this one or a new one.
MFA.
Like overall.
Overall best practices. Enable
Okay.
MFA. That's the right one.
Yeah.
Next.
Root users should not log in daily. Why? Because if any
Correct.
wrong practice is given, they may be hacked.
That's right. That's right. Lock away the AWS root user access keys. Okay. Next.
And give permissions to a IAM user instead of logging with the root user.
I think that we have covered, right?
Yeah, that is covered. Okay.
So I think we can still put that as a different one. Create individual IAM users, right?
Okay.
Next.
For any external users for auditor purpose, give only SSA token service.
That is more of procedure. It's not a best practice.
Okay. Then assign a while giving roles, we should be careful to IAM.
As in, can you help? Elaborate?
While assigning any role to a IAM user, we should be careful. Like
Correct.
what roles?
Careful about what?
Whether we are giving correct service to him or different.
I want to make that note as grant least privilege. Are you with me on this?
Yes.
Okay. What is the next one?
I think.
How do you want your password to be? You didn't tell anything
It should,
on the password.
password should be strong, more than 15 characters.
Right. So what do you call that?
Password length should be long.
Configure
With the small letter, capital letter, and numeric, alphanumeric, all this.
configure strong password policy for IAM users. Are we good?
Okay. Good.
Yeah. Next. I just have one more, only one more, from the list that I was thinking that you must list out. We did discuss on that. Hello.
Policy, yeah, policies are.
Policy, I think we write that? No, we didn't write that, right? We can definitely write that as well. We can put it as, use AWS defined policies wherever possible, right?
Yeah.
Wherever possible. Okay. Next. You will speak about one piece, only one last pointer that's remaining. Recall.
Any resources. IAM user, we should not give full permissions. That we locked it, right?
Yeah, that we've given.
That is also. Access keys for programmer, like.
No, that is okay. That will come under create individual IAM users, right? What do you want to do in case of services? What kind of access do you want to give? Remember service accounts that we spoke?
Yeah, service account for database too. Yeah, we given if anyone want to log in application team, at that time we need to create service account. Yes.
Not application team, application.
Okay.
Have a clarity there. It's not application team. Teams are here. That is the reason I wrote people. This is the application that you have posted.
Okay.
Okay, give
Like
clarity
Apache.
there. Right. Exactly. Apache, if let's say on Apache you're hosting something, right? And you will have certain .html file, and that particular .html file you have stored it on database. Now Apache will have to speak to database, right, to fetch that particular .html file. How will it speak? It will have to establish the connection first, right? So what kind of connection it will use? You can configure a service account then. All right.
Okay. Yes. Configure service account.
I put it as use service accounts.
Use service.
Okay. So these are the IAM best practices. I'm sorry if I was pushy a little bit. I just want you to think hard.
No problem.
So just like this, right? Every service will have its own best practices, and you need to recall them by default. You need to know it by default at the tip of the tongue. I know all of this. Maybe time has made me realize or memorize, but on purpose I never sat in front of the machine. I never read all of these for the sake of memorizing this. No, I never did that, being frank. Okay.
Thank you.
With over time, yes, you will be able to realize this or memorize this, but don't give it a thought, or don't think of mugging up kind of thing, like where you read and try to recall. No, it should not happen. It should come by default, right? So that will only come if you know the use case, or if you know the understanding of how it works, right? For instance, it should come to you like, if I say password, by default password policy has to be there, and it has to be pretty much configured across everything and anything that whatever the organization is using. Like that you need to recall. So if we say password policy 15 characters alphanumeric,
and it has to last for 60 days or 90 days based on the regulatory requirement, and then proceed. Right? So these are all of these has to be spontaneous. It should not be that you need to recall as such. For instance, enable MFA by default, that has to be there, right? And so on and so forth. See, just like this today, do we recall A till Z, A B C D E F G H I? We don't, right?
No. Yes.
But if I'll ask you the same question in first class or you're in KG, then you were recalling, correct?
Yeah, correct.
That's how it is. You need to get so spontaneous and get used to it. You should not memorize them. You need to know them by default.
Okay.
Then is when you will be able to achieve expertise. Otherwise, you can't.
Okay.
Otherwise, what would happen is every time you will go back and check what it is, right? And that's not a good thing, right? That will help you, but that will not help you become an expert, and that will not help you long term. Okay. So this is what it is with respect to IAM. I hope you have got a better clarity on the same, right? What I can do is, what we will do now is, just give me 1 second. I will have to actually search for that. I have got, want to quickly check how well you have understood IAM. So for that, I've got questions with me that I'll have to actually dig in. Too many things told. That's the reason. Just give me a second. I'll start.
So whether anyone will ask, can you create a policy like that, sir? That is not our question, right? Our part.
No, I didn't understand. Come again.
If anyone was asked, did you create your own policies? Like whether we need to learn
as a part of security, creating policy will not be your job, but reviewing the policy will be your job.
Okay.
Am I making sense?
Correct.
Right. So that's how it works. Wherever you go. To operation database, storage, serverless network architecture, security. Okay. Let's discuss few questions now, right? So that I understand you have got it right.
Okay. Your company has those employees who want to set up AWS services for each of them. Which of the following method you will use for this?
Option A, setting by IAM group. Option B, setting by IAM user. Option C, setting by IAM roles. Option D, setting by IAM access IDs. Okay. So question reads like this: your company has 1,000 employees. You want to set up AWS access for each of them. Which of the following methods should you use for this? And these are the options you've got. Which is the right answer here? Now, please note this is one of the actual real-time questions.
Sir, it's like option A, creating a group and IAM group.
Okay. So are you sure that it's option A? Hello? Hello?
Yes, Ananta. Option A only.
Cool. Great. So I have next question. If you answer it right, I am happy.
Okay.
Sorry about that. We've got next question. What features can you use to provide high security in addition to usernames and passwords when you log into the AWS console? A, MFA, B, access key, C, secret access key, D, mobile phone authentication.
Yeah, we will give MFA, sir, for if any user created.
Okay. Are you sure?
Yes.
Okay. Why is it not last option?
Mobile phone authentication. I never did use this one, but if it is there, we can go for that also.
No, see, we saw the pieces, right? We saw the settings that is there yesterday, right? So based on whatever
Yes.
you learned so far, why you consider mobile phone authentication is not the right answer?
Okay. MFA only. Okay. MFA is.
No, let me tell you, my intent, Bhupal, is if you know what is the right answer, you must also be able to explain why the other answers are wrong.
Correct. Sure, sir. Access keys means we need to give only for developer. Secret keys also we should not give for. We cannot log in. That's why MFA is the right answer. It will be more secure for the user to log in with user and password along with MFA.
Okay. Let me put it this way, right? When you say what features can you provide high security, can you use to provide high security in addition to usernames and password when you log into the AWS console? I mean, I'm not, stating your answer is wrong. Your answer is right. MFA is the right answer. Option D, mobile phone authentication, it's not a feature. It is a type of MFA. Am I correct?
Correct.
Yesterday, when we went to MFA, we saw three options. One is mobile phone authentication. Next is Gemalto. The other one is YubiKey. Correct?
Yes.
Yeah. So these were the types of MFA, right? Your question is asking what feature can you use to provide high security? It's not asking what type of MFA you will have to give. Okay. So then is when your MFA answer is right. But here, instead of MFA, I had given some random answer. Okay.
Yeah.
Let's say some GUG, blah, blah, blah. Okay. Now then,
it is linked.
D will be the right answer.
Okay.
Okay. You will always have to select the best closest answer. Then is when you will get it right. All right.
Okay.
Sorry. I'm making sense, right? You have no confusions.
Yeah.
Okay. Now we have this next question, which is which of the following service controls controls the available AWS resources for each developer or user? A, AWS organization, B, IAM, C, CloudWatch, D, CLI.
CLI. Why? Because developers will log in with the CLI and they will do the programming via CLI.
Read the question again, related to the doubt you asked me.
Yeah. Okay. Which of the following services control the available AWS resources for each developer uses? Services. Okay, CLI is not a service. Okay. Controls AWS. It's very difficult to think, Ananta. Let's. Which of the okay? We sorry, like we resource. IIM we need to give. IIM is the right answer here.
Are you sure?
Yes, pakka.
Okay. Now tell me why CLI is not the right answer.
CLI is just a command line interpreter, like a command line. How we developer will connect an AWS console. Suppose if
Correct.
he don't have that is the CLI, and CloudWatch is a monitoring like a tool, and the AWS organization is like all accounts kept in one account is AWS organization.
Correct. All right. So IAM is right. So that's the reason. Whenever you are coming to a conclusion that one of the option is right, do not jump to a conclusion by reading few parts or few words in the question. Here, right, the initially what you did wrong was you saw developer user, you saw service control. That's all, and you came to conclusion that the answer is CLI. But you never read the entire question. You never understood the entire question. Then when I asked you read the question again, then is when you read and understood the question. Then you change the answer to IAM. Correct?
Correct.
So ideally, how you read the question, how you understand the question always matters. Please do not read 3 to 4 words in a question and jump to a conclusion. All right?
Okay.
Are we good?
Yeah.
Okay. Now I have one more question. Hello, Bhopal, am I audible?
Yeah.
Okay. So you're migrating your infrastructure hosted on your on-premise data center to AWS. On the on-premises, the operations team manages the ID. Choose a service that helps you perform identity management on AWS. Option A, Systems Manager. Option B, IAM. Option C, CloudWatch. Option D, Cognito.
The operation.
Hello?
Yeah. Yes.
Yeah.
Ananta.
It's not tricky. It's a very easy question. Reread it. Try to understand the question.
To perform identity management. Identity management will come means IAM only, Ananta.
Okay.
I'm sure answer B is the correct one.
All right. If you say so, I'll go with answer B. Do you want to reconfirm or you're good?
Yeah, please confirm.
Okay. Right. IAM is the right answer. So again, the question could be wrong. The answer could be simple. It could revolve around too much of theory, but you'll have to find for key terms there and then try to arrive at the question. In this particular, scenario, it says there is a migration happening from your on-premise to cloud infrastructure, right? There is an operation team which will manage the ID. ID as in it could be OpenID Connect or whatever it is, right? Now, in case of AWS, which particular service will help you perform identity management, right? So identity management is a key term here. On AWS, identity management is done by who? IAM, right? That is all.
IAM.
No confusions, nothing. All right. So yeah, these were the few questions that I had. In fact, what I'll do is, right, I have more questions, but I'm not sure if I'll send across everything beginning. You might face it too much. Why? Because it's not separate to network. It's not separate by a service. It's more or less everything is clubbed. Now even now I took time to bring up those questions because I had to find the questions related to IAM and then put it here. Right. So everything is combined. That's the reason I don't want to send you the questions now. Maybe when we are around 60-70% done, I'll send across all the questions, right? So then, you will be able to answer them. Okay.
Okay.
All right. Sure. So how confident are you about IAM now so far?
90%.
All right. So what we can do is, can you, do you have one more AWS account by any chance, or it's just one AWS account that you mentioned?
I have only one.
Are you comfortable creating one more?
I don't have.
No, you can use the same
want...
card. That's okay.
Okay. If it is mandatory, I will get it done. I don't have credit card. I'll ask my colleagues and I'll create it done. If it is.
No, why? Purely because I asked you this is right.
Okay.
Yesterday I told you one thing. Remember, where you have in case of AWS organization, this plays a crucial role. Last week, right? I was actually working with. I told you, right? There is one ongoing training that I'm doing. For Cisco, and these guys don't know this concept. These are Cisco's InfoSec team. When I explained them, they were like, "It is that simple. So far, we were doing it in a complete different way, and it has, spoiled so much of process." After I told them, they completely changed the process, and now they are happy.
Okay.
That's the reason. Again, this will play a crucial role in case of interviews. This could be asked, right? So that's the reason I was, that's the reason I'm pushing for it. Otherwise, no. Otherwise, I would have not pushed for it. I'll tell you what I was trying to do, or what I'm trying to do here is, let me go and explain you the same, right? Sorry, I don't get AWS here. I have AWS account 1. Okay.
Okay.
1. Now I will also have AWS account 2. All right.
Okay.
Now I have a database in AWS account 1.
Okay.
I have multiple databases. I'll put it that way. Okay. Similarly, I've also got multiple databases here, correct?
Correct.
Now, what if I will tell you this is prod account. Okay.
Okay.
This is
Dev account or test account?
dev account. Let's keep it dev account for now. Yeah. Now, on your this is one prod account, this is one dev account, and on prod account you have users, correct?
Yes.
Similarly, you've got users. Sorry about that. You've got users on your dev account as well, right?
Yes.
Now, using your IAM, right? On the prod account, you will have to just create one user, one of these user, right? Prod user 1. Okay. Now this particular prod user 1 must have, or let me take the different way. Yeah, right. So you've got dev account, right? Dev 1, I'll put it. Now, for some reason, dev 1 will have to do some testing. Okay. And he actually needs access to one of the S3 bucket. Okay.
Okay.
S3 1, right? Or I'll call it as S3A. One of the S3 bucket, which is on prod account. This is S3B. I'm just writing S3A and S3B and nothing else. Okay. So one of the dev 1 would want to access just one S3 bucket on a different account, which is your prod account. How will you achieve this? You can achieve with IAM, whatever that I explained you.
Okay.
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 This is a casual, this could be one of the interview question. Again, this could be one of the requirements for you as well when you join the team. Again, more from the cloud operation team, not from the InfoSec team, right? So from a security perspective, this may not be the question, but yeah, which is this can be portrayed as, let's say there are multiple accounts and one of the, user of least privilege account or least, one of the user of dev account would want to access to one of the S3 bucket on a different product account. Will we be able to achieve the same using IAM? If yes, how we can achieve the same, right? So the best secure way they could ask, because this is a very, very much, required need, and every other organization are not, don't know about this. Only few of them know about it, and whoever knows it, they're following it. And whoever doesn't know, they're just living it. It's a security loophole also, right? So now tell me what you should do. Let's speak from theory perspective, right? I understand you don't have the account. That's okay. We're all well, no problem, right? Let's purely speak from theory perspective, right? What are the steps that you need to follow in order to achieve this? Can we arrive at those? Can we at least discuss them and come to a conclusion, or list out the steps?
Okay.
You thinking?
Yeah, if they are in same network, like an same gateway, NAT gateway, they can log in also. Dev 1 can connect to that one.
See, boss, see, they will be able to connect, but will they be able to, it will only be reachable, but they'll not be able to access it, right?
Yes, yes.
IAM will not let you access, correct? Because you would have not even mapped the policy to access S3, correct?
Yes.
Again, how will you keep on the same name? How will you keep a user on the network? You can't keep a user on a network, right? You can only keep, resources on networks, correct?
Yes, yes, correct.
So then how will you achieve that? Again, it's only very simple. You will have to play around with roles. That is all you will have to do. Very, very simple.
Okay.
You'll have to just play around with roles. Only roles. I explained you the roles, right? Just with
Yes,
roles,
yes.
you can play around and achieve this. You know that? Just with roles. Nothing else you need for this.
Okay.
It is that simple.
Okay. By saying different account, right? That's what I'm thinking. How this guy will connect to that different account, right? That's it. Okay.
You can.
Yeah.
Just with roles, you can connect. What you can do is, right? Sometime after the session, create another AWS account. Okay.
Okay.
Once you create that another AWS account, try and do this. Okay. So don't worry.
Okay.
This will not cost you anything. This is a free thing.
Okay. Sure.
This will not cost you anything. You can have creation of row users and so on and so forth, right? Everything. It's free. It won't cost you anything. All right. Now I explained you this, right? So I gave you a hint on how to do it as well. All right. But then let me tell you in real-time scenarios, right? I'm giving the operation side, not just the security side as well, right? So there will be requests that will be raised, like, something must have access to something, and some application must have access to some resource, or some user must have access to something else, and so on and so forth, right? Now, you don't know how to think straight. I mean, I'm not speaking from personal perspective, because there is too much of data that's being, in front of your eyes. You want to clear all the clutter, and you want to, form a certain simulation, or let's say form a certain workflow, or put this in a flow diagram with respect to all of these accesses, right?
Yes.
Am I making sense? Let's say you get so many requests to create IAM users, groups, and do that and this with respect to authentication or identity management, right? It's too much of information. When you have too much of information and theory, it's always better for all of us to put it in a presentable format, so that we will be able to understand better, right? So for that, with respect to identity management, IAM AWS will actually help you with a service, or it's not a service, it's more of a simulator. It's called as IAM policy simulator. Okay. You can use this particular IAM policy simulator to draw these particular flow diagrams more from access perspective, right? Are you logged into your AWS account? If yes, can you please start sharing the screen?
Yes, Ananda. Yes. Yes, Ananda. I am in root user. Yes. Tell me. IAM. Are you able to see the screen, Ananda?
Yeah, access IAM. Once you go to IAM, you would have something called as policy simulator. You'll see policy simulator on the left. Go to account settings. Account settings, or access. No, not there. Access. Click on users.
Okay.
It was right there. Yeah, I missed it. Go back one step. Sorry.
Okay. IAM. Okay.
Right here at the bottom on the right.
Right here.
Tools. Yeah, right there. You are there. Okay, it's my screen. Sorry, it's my this thing arrow. Just a second, I'll check if I can. Annotation is something that's gone from my machine. I don't know why. I'm not able to annotate. If annotation was present, right, I would have, whatever the explanation I gave you, I would have done it on your screen.
Okay, sir. This one, policy simulator, right side.
Click on that. Yeah, right there. Yeah, click on that. Right. So this particular policy simulator will help you achieve, right? IAM, it's not just UI. Whatever the roles that you will map and so on and so forth, it's not just UI. You can also achieve, or you can also do this with the help of the code. Are you aware of that?
Yeah, JSON code is there. There we can use it.
That's right. So if you want to, simulate certain policies and so on and so forth, you can do the same thing there. Right?
Okay.
So for instance, maybe select IAM user 1. First, you'll have to, let me tell you how to, use this, right? So IAM user 1 you selected, and you've got 3 policies here, right? So what we ideally did is we gave full access. Otherwise, we would have been able to understand better, but that's okay, right? So what you can do is select any one. No, go back. Select any one. On the left, you have the option to select. Right. So above, you have something called as, no, go back, please.
Again.
Click on, yeah. Above, you have got create new policy. You see that?
Yes.
Can you click on that?
Yeah.
Now this is a policy name, right? So the custom IAM policy, right? Some policy temp, whatever it is, right? On the right, can you hover to the right now? Come to the right, policy simulator, select a service. Select API gateway itself, first one. So under actions, select something, drop down. Yeah, maybe select first and last. Invalidate cache and last one. Yeah. So now click on run simulation at the right. What did it say?
Denied, implicitly denied. No matching. Okay.
Why? Purely because the policy that you created, right? What does it have? It has access to S3. It has access to EC2. It does not have access to API. Correct? That is the reason you got this. Now here it's very simple, right? We have got only 2 policies. But what if in case of organizations, you being the security guy, it's your responsibility to do what? Always maintain least privilege, correct? Now in that case, when you have so many policies, how will you validate them? Using this particular policy simulator, you will be able to validate them, right? Let's say, for instance, developer should not have access to what? What you can do is select the IAM user of developer and then give those particular services. Then we will get deny everywhere, right? For all in fact, wherever you selected API gateway, right? You can actually select the entire list of AWS services. There is no limitation there. Okay. So what you are trying to do with policy simulator is you will check whether earlier created policies, right, are up to your security best practices. Okay. Am I making sense?
Yeah.
Okay. This is what you can do with policy simulator.
Sir, whether we need to know all about this statements, API gateway?
No. You need not know all the statements. It will be there only. You need not recall them.
What is like API gateway means? Like a API gateway we are seeing whether it is having access or not for this service.
No,
right?
no. What we're trying to do here is whether this particular user, IAM user 1, does he has access to API gateway or not is something that we're trying to check.
Okay. Got it.
Okay. Here we just gave 2 access, right? EC2 and S3.
But usually what will happen in organizations, it will be a huge list of policies, correct?
Correct.
Then are you ready to go through each one of them?
No, we cannot.
If you have
It will be
5, 10, 15, fine. What if you have more than that? You have some thousands together, or you have hundreds together. You cannot definitely go through each one of them, right?
yes.
Hello?
Yeah.
Yeah. So then is when you need to depend on this.
Okay.
Okay. So what you can do is go back to IAM. You can close this tab. It actually open.
Okay. This one, sir, like AWS organization and AWS SSO. It's your voice is breaking. Do you want to click on this?
The related service.
Yeah. Okay. Now it is.
Service. It's not under.
Sir, Ananta, your voice is breaking. Hello. Ananta, I am audible.
Yes.
Am I audible to you?
Am I audible?
And now you are okay. Yeah.
Right. So what I was trying to say is AWS organization is a different service, right? It does not
Okay.
come under IAM. You see that as
Okay.
related service. When we come across AWS organization, I will tell you.
Okay, sir. Okay. Actually, where I saw this one, right? Like here in this one, cloud security identity. Next is like in IA. Here, this one I saw that. That's what I asked you. Sorry for this.
Yeah, sure. So
Again, your voice is getting little bit low, Ananta. Can I disconnect and connect again, Ananta? Is it fine?
Yeah, now I can.
Hello? I have. My data card to Geo now.
This meeting is being recorded.
Okay. Sure. So quickly go ahead and share my screen. I just want to get a quick, feedback, understanding, whatever it is, right? So, first thing that I have, Bhopal, is it okay for me? Sorry, for you, where I draw these kind of explanations and write something and explain. You're okay by that, right?
Yes, Ananta. Actually you are putting so much of effects, even though like no one teach you like you. It's very interesting, and after post-lunch you will get sleep, but it is very. I'm not getting sleep also. It is more courses attractive.
Okay, so I just want to get that particular feedback. Again, why? Purely because, right, people expect PPTs, and it's not that I'm not a PPT guy. I can bring, I'll be able to make wonderful PPTs, but I don't want to do that. It will be better. What I feel is, this particular example that I gave you, you didn't even know. I taught you users. You didn't even know. I taught you groups. You didn't even know. I'll teach you roles and policies. But when we completed everything, you understood all of it, right?
Correct.
Right. So that's how I look at the teaching as such. I don't throw so much.
Actually,
Mhm.
actually, even for first guy, they won't understand. I am like I am from long days. I am in AWS. I will asking my friends like what is IAM, what is policy. I will confuse them, but by your explanation, it is got cleared. Like freshers, they cannot. Maybe they can understand or they don't know. I don't know, but for me now it is very clear, Ananta.
So what I try to do, well, with respect to not respect to every service, right? I don't just throw data at you. I don't throw PPTs at you. I don't throw slide shows or view shows at you. And I'll not be doing too much of talking as well. You see, you would have seen where the talking per se, both of us would have done good 50-50%. Or it could be like 60-40% or something like that. I would have made you speak a lot, and I would have spoken a lot. I don't want one-sided training. If it is a one-sided training, I will say, boss, I'm not sorry, I cannot continue with it and close it.
Yes, Ananta. Interactive should be there, so other side of guy also should be interesting to teach.
Correct. So my only achievement that I look at is whoever is part of the team must be able to understand the concept better, and they must be an expert at one point in the future. That is all I look at.
Okay.
All right. So I'm not sure if we have very less time. In 10 minutes, even though I start a new service, you will not be able to understand anything. What do you want to do?
Yeah, correct.
Let's quickly discuss on the timeline. See, we are done with 4 hours so far. Yesterday 2 hours, today 2 hours, right?
Yes.
I'll quickly go ahead and share my calendar. How do you want to look at how are you placed in the entire week, right? What's your commitment that you have, and how many hours you can spend? I'm okay, spending more time, right? Because why? Purely where I'm coming from is, if I delay too much, you will not be able to grasp everything. And also, if I will give you too much of gap, then also you may not be able to grasp too many things. Okay.
Yes.
That is the reason what I try to do is, between the sessions, it will be better if we have very less time gap. All right.
Okay.
So this will change to 50 minutes.